Welcome to another episode of Unraveling the Knots, the podcast where we celebrate, educate, and empower women rocking their natural hair. I'm your host, Ganiat Salami, a beautypreneur and a passionate advocate for all things natural hair. I have a 9 to 5 in project management, and when I'm not planning, managing, or organizing my team to work together, I'm probably researching, writing, and talking about natural hair. Today's conversation is truly interesting because our guest brings a fascinating blend of science and wellness to the conversation. She's a biological engineer with a passion for skincare as both science and self-care. Kaitlyn is the founder of the skincare brand Aeston West. She has worked with many luxury retail skincare brands, including Tata Harper. Please welcome Kaitlyn Schneider. Kaitlyn, welcome to the UTK podcast. Thank you for joining us today.
I am so thrilled to be here today. Very excited to chat all things wellness, science, skincare, and a little bit of hair.
I'm excited to hear what you have to say about all those. So, before we get into today's discussion, could you introduce yourself to our listeners and share a little bit about who you are, what you do? We'd like to get to know you better.
Absolutely. Let's get into it. So I appreciate your wonderful intro. Yes, it's true. My background is in engineering. And right now I am getting ready to launch Aeston West, our new skincare brand. But really how we all got to be here today is I like to think of myself as, an engineer by day, but a little bit of the soul of an artist by night. I've always had a big passion for science and all things technical and problem solving, but in equal measure, I'm a big fan of all things aesthetic, passionate, design forward, and really where that intersection happened. I think the most telling story I can share is, I cross over with a lot of engineers, and I find that any good engineer or scientist will always tell you how trial and error their projects are and how creative their projects are. And conversely, when you meet with artists, they'll tell you really how technical and time consuming and precise their work is. And so, East and West, our core theory is, duality by design, bringing things that sometimes seem like they don't go together in ways that are maybe a little more harmonious than you think.
Oh, wow. That's truly interesting. And I have to say, I don't know why I thought the brand was pronounced Aeston West. So it is Aeston West.
East and West, yeah.
Okay. And by the way, speaking of creativity, I checked out the website and it is beautiful. I just have to say.
I really appreciate that compliment. As I said, we put so much effort and so much research into our science, but equally important was, of course, the artistry and the aesthetic. And so I'm happy to hear that it's resonating with you.
Oh, yes, definitely. Definitely. And that's really great and impressive. So, Kaitlyn, on this podcast, we usually talk a lot about Afro-textured hair. Obviously, you don't have Afro-textured hair, but would still love to hear your perspective. What has your hair journey been like? And what does hair mean to you personally as a woman?
Absolutely. And thank you so much for welcoming me into this conversation and space. No, I, like everybody, love hair. Sometimes I'm frustrated with hair in equal measure. I think my favorite part of hair is just how deeply personal it is. That, on any given day, how you style it, how you wear it can say so much about you as an individual, but somehow it also seems to have this totally separate individual personality, completely its own.
Yes, yes.
I also just love, again, how it really falls into this space of highly technical. It can be such an indicator of your emotional state, your health, what you're going through, but is in equal measure this kind of unique artistic moment, style moment, somehow fashion accessory, right?
Yeah.
It's such a moldable, part of yourself. And I just love the journey, even when it's maybe a little challenging.
I know. I think one of the things that really stuck with me, based on your comments, is the fact that hair is an indicator of health, right? And I think people don't really see hair that way. It's more of something that you would consider to be aesthetics. However, your hair can be used to confirm whether or not you have health issues or
Yeah.
you have nutrient deficiency. So hair is, it's not just for the looks. There's more to hair than the looks.
Exactly. It's all about, again, that duality. It's so, artistic, creative, but it really can be such an indicator of what's maybe going on upstairs in your
Mhm.
body, at any given time. And it's also, we're all familiar with how it changes maybe day to day, week to week, with how we're feeling like styling or the weather in particular right now.
Yeah.
Um, but our hair is on its own journey. That your texture changes over time, the color changes over time. So it really is this sort of like moldable indicator of who you are, where you are, what you're doing at any given time.
Yes, that's an awesome insight, honestly. Yeah. So I know you're someone who's really big on self-care. I mean, that's really your world. And that's also something we always highlight here on our podcast. What does self-care mean to you personally? And how do you practice it in your own life?
Absolutely. I love this question. I mean, I love self care so much that I made it my whole career. No, I think what's so important to remember about self care and what I think sometimes gets lost is self care is such a mental pursuit with really physical benefits. But sometimes, especially when we see it on social media and we hear about it day to day, it can feel like this physical act, skincare, body care, hair care, with the hopes of having mental benefits. And so for me personally, it can look like anything from, a quick 10-minute break to go and walk around the city in the middle of the day to kind of think about something new, give your mind a mental break. To, of course, I love my skincare self help at the end of the day. But I always say, it's equal parts the mental well being as well as the physical or aesthetic well being. Of course, skincare in particular, just the act of truly taking care and having this daily routine can be just as beneficial as the ingredients, as the topicals, as the physical side of it. So for me, self care really is about mental care, just as much as anything else.
That's truly interesting. And I completely agree with you. I feel like when people look at social media, the idea of self care is this grand exercise that you're about to take part in that sometimes can even feel overwhelming, right? And it
Completely.
can be as easy as you said as walking down the park. For me, sometimes self care is I am overwhelmed with work and I'm like, girl, shut that laptop down. We're taking a 30-minute nap, rest, and then continue.
It's incredible. It's so true. I really found that was such a disconnect. And today, you find yourself growing frustrated because you're like, in order to achieve self care, I must have perfect skin and I must have, a wellness retreat and I have to meditate for 4 hours a day. And then all of a sudden, of course, that's not achievable for the average person. And now you're stressed.
Exactly.
It's done the opposite. And so I think really the biggest challenge is again, just remembering what the goal with self care is. And really when you're in a great mental state and you just feel good, you actually do end up seeing it on the outside as well. And something as simple as, again, with skincare, even just doing the routine is just as beneficial as any ingredient that you're using.
Now, this is very, very helpful tips that you're sharing. So people take these gems and just apply it to your daily lives as much as you can. That being said, from your perspective, how does science help us redefine beauty in a way that feels more authentic, more respectful, less harmful, and less about unrealistic standards?
I love this question. What I love about the science side of beauty is really the fact that it can actually be a little bit less depersonalizing from the standpoint of, particularly with our collection or my approach to beauty, it's really targeting root cause, right? It's not something you did. It's not something you didn't do. It's not even that you have a wrinkle or an acne mark. It's really like what's causing it, right? And that's such a black and white sort of issue. It's like everything has a sort of challenge and everything has a solution, and you can start to look a little bit more objectively. I find, with myself and with anybody I talk to, beauty can be such a loaded word. It can be so fun and so positive. But it can also have, challenging associations with it. And I find that sometimes that blame or that personalization of like, what am I doing wrong? Why can't I fix this? Why can't I change? Is a source of that negative side. So with science, you can really take a more measured approach to problem solving in a way that is both practical and, targeted solutions without it being so personalized.
Kaitlyn, you said the W word, wrinkle. Oh, I think that is one word that most women dread hearing. And I have to say, when I looked at your website, the lady on your website was more matured and she looked absolutely amazing. I like the fact that that was who you basically centered the brand on. And I'm of course, I know that there are other women on the website, but I just thought that was very, very refreshing. Why did you decide to select that lady for
Absolutely.
the website?
Yeah, I love this question. Really, it was a no-brainer to me. Of course, I'll give you a little bit of a story behind it. Me personally, I'm an only child, so growing up, I spent a lot of time around, of course, my mom, but her friends and women that were older than me. And so I always found them to be extremely inspiring, but also these kind of trendsetters, tastemaker types.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I, entered into the industry, I found that it actually really reversed, right? We centered younger people as these tastemakers. And it seems like these women who are so interesting because, they're the ones who developed taste and these things that can only come with time. And they did it all before Pinterest and AI, et cetera. We're kind of sidelined with products that were maybe effective, but were not exactly fun in the way that maybe shopping for products for younger people is fun, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, it was a no brainer because it was always the people that I looked to. These are the ladies who taught me my beauty routines. These are the ladies that I grew up with and who I learned, what I know from. So it wasn't a choice to, try to be different. It was sort of obvious that that's who inspired the brand. That's who should be on the brand,
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I also feel like it was a refreshing move. There's always this picture of inclusivity. And I mean, for me, when I'm growing older, right, I'm close to my 40s. And it feels very sad, as you said, these women that you grew up with who have created legacies, interesting solutions. They've been, you know, they're like people that have created things that you would have probably never had exposure to some of the experiences in your life, and then to be put on the sideline. I feel it's rather disingenuous. So I honestly feel like a it was a lit move. That was a lit move. Love
No,
it.
I really do appreciate that. But again, I find, so much again of beauty is really past focused. The
Mm.
messaging is not only, you're fighting the fight of anti-aging versus pro-aging versus anti-aging, right?
Yes.
You can say whatever you want. We're all aging. It's happening, right?
And there's beauty in
And
aging.
there's beauty in aging, and it's something that's really exciting. And I found that really so much of the language was past focus, get your old skin back, get your younger skin back. You can't. You're the age you are, right? And so I was excited to have this future focus of like, your best skin is yet to come. Your best travel is yet to come. Your best, conversations are yet to come. Because again, these ladies have a lot of life left. They're more active than younger generations. They're traveling more. So a lot of them are working still. We need products that are keeping up with them, but also aren't necessarily the most exciting thing about them. They're out there living their lives, and we want to be, a good partner and helping them do that.
Yeah, Kaitlyn, that is just fantastic. It is. So I'm really interested in this question. You've been in the beauty space long enough to see trends come and go. From your perspective, what's one beauty standard that women often hold on to, but in reality feels completely unrealistic? And how do you think we can start addressing or unlearning it?
Absolutely. I love this question as well. I love all your questions. Um, no, it's funny in today's sort of modern world. I think this will be familiar to your listeners, but the trend cycle is almost becoming the trend, right? It used to be that you had trends from the 90s and the 80s and the 70s and these big blocks of time. Now we have these trends that, it might be in January, it's one thing, and it's like light years old by the time you get to February, right? So
Yes.
I, so I actually find that the biggest challenge or unrealistic trend of today are these big fluctuations, and actually being able to like expect yourself to want to or be able to keep up, especially with, again, the physicality that goes into it. It's fun to try a new makeup trend, don't get me wrong, but big hairs in one day, sleek hairs in the next day. There's body changes that are really wild swings from day to day, month to month, year to year. And so again, I actually speak to this sort of idea of developing your own sense of style, taste, etc., so that you know what's beautiful, and finding the beauty in the features that you have. Of course, I'm not saying don't participate in trends. Trends are very fun. But I think sometimes it can be hard to even know what you find beautiful anymore, what the standard is. And so I almost find it's this, again, kind of artistic pursuit of developing your own eye and exploring what you really do find beautiful in both yourself and the trends, and being more selective about what you want to participate in, so that you can have this holistic, positive beauty experience that you love and enjoy, and you feel good about, but feel a little bit less pulled back and forth day to day, week to week, year to year.
Oh, Lord. Yeah. It just feels like in trying to pursue trends at times, it's easy to just get lost.
Totally. It's honestly hard to not get lost. I mean, even in something as simple as colors, color theory. I mean, one day it's butter yellow and the next day it's blueberry milk, right?
Oh, my God.
It's hard to keep up.
It is. And then sometimes maybe it'll be neon. I don't know. I mean, there's been neon before. Neon will probably come back again.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. So, one thing that comes up a lot in conversations, especially like self care conversations, is how women sometimes see self care as a luxury rather than a necessity. From your perspective, how can women begin to treat self care as a daily practice, not just an occasional treat?
Absolutely. I love a daily luxury. I think it starts even with what does luxury mean? I think sometimes luxury has just this inherent sense of otherness or this occasionality or, before an event or a big moment or just on the weekends, right? You save these moments. But again, in my sort of wellness beauty philosophy, the routine is so key to, the mental self-care, the physical self-care, et cetera. That's why, with Aeston West, we designed our line to be 3 steps, right?
Yes.
Because having to learn something new all the time is not necessarily self-care. So for me, the biggest barrier to entry is sometimes just simply overcomplicating it. Finding a routine that works for you, that you can feel confident in, and that you can do every single day is the best way to do it. With skincare in particular, there's a lot of emphasis put on ingredients. And don't get me wrong, we love a good ingredient. We have many good ingredients in our line. But really the places that people miss out on maybe achieving their skincare goals are using your products properly and using them regularly. A fantastic life-changing ingredient that's tucked in the back of your medicine cabinet isn't exactly, smoothing any surfaces. So finding a routine that you really can stick to, that's simple, that you enjoy using, that's equal parts, science and sensuality, is really the key to consistency and that overall benefit.
That's wonderful. So before we wrap up, Kaitlyn, what's one thing you'd like listeners to take away about the connection between self-care, self-respect, and beauty?
The most important thing to keep in mind is, again, finding something that really works for you and keeping the mentality behind it front and center. And that's where you'll see, many, many benefits from there. Making sure that you find something that you can stick with, find something that makes you happy, find something that you're happy to do every single day is the absolute key to success when it comes to self-care. And of course, beyond that, any of the sort of beauty benefits that you're looking for from that routine as well.
That's wonderful. And I just have to say, thank you so much, Kaitlyn, for joining us and sharing your perspective. It has really been refreshing in terms of this conversation. And now I just wanted to flag that the Aeston West brand has officially launched. So for our listeners, where can they find you?
You can find us at aestonwest.com. That is AESTONWEST.com.
Awesome. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend, a sister, or anyone who needs to hear it. You can always send us a message at utkinhair@gmail.com and reach us on Instagram at utkpodcast. Thank you, our listeners, for tuning in. Until next time, stay grounded in confidence and care. Bye.